that's the reason why that you're finding Electroneum staying at that 1 cent. At 1 cent, I can make what the Bitcoin miner is making in profit and enough to pay for the machine. So I'm making the same as Bitcoin. There's an equilibrium. The Electroneum is making me the same amount of money as if I was mining Bitcoin. And when my machine is paid for, I'll be making a ton more money, or I have the ability to sell it for less. If all things were the same, if I was to freeze time and just place us 12 months from now, where nothing new has changed, no new announcements, no nothing, but that machine was paid for, that same farm would be able to sell Electroneum at 0.6 of a penny. I can't tell you.
He's a tech-savvy guy, gonna show you the way. You better load your bags, cause crypto's here to stay. Listen up, gonna teach you about this and that. But he's just a goofy guy in a straw hat. So join in and have a laugh. It's gonna be a good time, that's a fact. Information and crypto parodies. Sit back and enjoy the show. You just never know which way you'll go. Get ready for Digitspin crypto.
Hey, it's Dino, Digitspin Crypto. Now, start off with the basics. I'm just a goofy guy in a straw hat, so I don't give financial advice because I'm just not qualified. Keep that in the back of your head. This is all information that I like to bring forward. Now, as you saw in the preamble, I talked about 9 months ago the possibility of Electroneum being at 0.6 cents. So those of you that have been watching Digitspin Crypto and pay attention clearly have not been surprised by the current price of Electroneum. And additionally, you would understand the difference between the economics of the coin and the value of the project. The value of the project being what they're doing, their vision, their interaction with additional companies. Are they actually making this stuff happen? And so behind the scenes, Electroneum's doing the right job. The coin, obviously the price is based on what the value of what people think it's worth. So if you think it's worth nothing and you don't want nothing to do with it, it's going to be worth nothing. If you think it has value, it'll have some value. And it basically comes down to just that. Right now you have a lot of mining going on. Initially, all blockchains in the first 3 years just pour out. They have a huge rate of inflation and pour out tons and tons of coins to get them out there, to get them in people's hands. That's just how the admission curve works. And over that 2 to 3 year period, that emission curve comes down, makes the coins more scarce. The stock to flow is obviously a lot lower, and therefore they become more valuable over that period of time. So those of you that watch Digitspin Crypto understand this and know the mechanics and the economics that are behind it, and are actually wise investors. Now, I do want to say there's a major difference between an investor, a trader. And an investor looks at what the project is trying to accomplish, where it's going to go, what they're building, what they're doing, what they're interacting with, and says, you know what, I'm going to put some pesos into purchasing some of these coins because I believe where and what the project is doing will take it to a very good place in that 2 to 5 year range when the coins start to become more valuable. I believe that it'll be more valuable than the average bear. A trader is somebody that looks at technical analysis, evaluates different types of coins, and is in it for that quick hit, gets some profit, at least they try to, get some profit, put it in their pocket. That's how they make their living. All right. So if you're on here and you're saying, you know, I'm not getting a return in my money in 6 months, well, that's because you're a trader, and you want to be able to bring up the money and retrieve a profit from it, and that's fine and dandy. I have to tell you, if that's your only goal and you can care less about the project, you want to just trade to earn income, and you're not making anything currently with Electroneum, you're not doing your job right. There's lots of different coins out there. Electroneum is not the only one, and you could be trading in different types of coins. So don't embarrass yourself putting videos out there saying that you're trying to make money by just getting a quick hit and making some profit and wondering why you're not making anything. So Electroneum is an investment vehicle for a long period of time, and anybody that has the understanding of the mechanics of the emissions, the economics, and the project will know what they're investing in. And that's why you listen to Digitspin Crypto, so I can tell you about all these good things, and then you can make a decision for yourself. So, having said that, let's get on with the show. So, this is Dino at Digitspin Crypto, and we have Tyler on the other camera, this way, over here. And we got together tonight to go over some of the questions that Tyler asked Richard Ells over the last 2 weeks. And I was so curious that I wanted to talk with Tyler and see his additional thoughts on things. Tyler, tell us a little bit about your channel and yourself.
So if you guys, well, you probably know me now if you saw the Richard Ells videos. But so the channel's called Podcast Now. It's like kind of an entertainment channel. It ranges between different things that we cover: video games, movies, Electroneum, on the Cora show that's every Monday.
And of course, you guys all know me, Dino at Digitspin Crypto, and just a goofy guy in a straw hat, right? So, what I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to be honest with you, you had a lot of great questions that you asked Richard, and I wanted to review some of his answers, and maybe we can pull out a little bit more information by tying some of these questions together and just kind of doing a review of it. I was just kind of curious to know how it turned out. Obviously, speaking with Rich must be a fun thing to do to begin with, and having that opportunity and be able to pose them. How did you come across these questions? And you know, you obviously you're getting people like, why don't you ask the tough questions and all that type of stuff. And of course there has to be a mix. You've got to do it in a polite fashion, and it's good to ask tough questions.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the guy, see what people, well, first of all, I'll say this. I will always have respect for Richard Ells. And I could tell, and I'm sure you could tell, and I think most of us could tell, well, some of us can tell just from the videos and seeing and all that stuff, like past videos. He's a genuine guy. And now from talking to him, he's a really cool guy. He's a really down-to-earth guy. And trust me, he knows everything that goes on in the Electroneum community more than probably most of you want him to know. And he probably does. If you're like, well, does he know about me? Well, if you say some stuff, trust me, he knows about you. And it's just, he's very... I don't know what the word
would be. Wait. So you're saying he watches Digitspin Crypto?
Well, yeah, he definitely would know about it. Trust me. So it's pretty cool, though. It's because
it makes sense.
It does make sense, and this is why it's cool, because what people, and I don't know how, I really don't know how, but people forget the man is a CEO of a company. It's a cryptocurrency. Okay, big deal. He's a CEO of a company. And I believe that in the next couple of years, he will be a name that most people know. Will he be as big of a name as Steve Jobs or Bill Gates? Maybe, maybe not. But I think his name will be up there. Let's put it that way. I don't know the name of the CEO of Samsung. I don't know the name of the CEO of, well, I did for PlayStation, but I believe he just retired, so I'm not sure who it is right now. These are brands I like. I'm not even sure what the CEO's names are. Because why? Because they're not, they put out products, they put out good products, there's a community, but they're not really that involved, which is how the old way used to be, or the way that the old world kind of used to be. It wasn't very transparent, but that's when you start to see all these different problems happen. And even perfect example, really perfect example, you look at a couple years ago, Samsung released a new, Galaxy S phone. I think it was with the 8 or the 9. They removed the headphone jack. Everyone freaked out. And the funny thing is there was rumors and leaks months before, like 6-7 months beforehand, saying, well, they might be removing the headphone jack. Everyone's saying, no, don't do it. We want the headphone jack. What are they doing? What are they doing? What happened? They removed the headphone jack. Everyone freaked. Then what happened? The following year or 2 years later, I think maybe it was 2 years later. Actually, I think it's the 10. What's back? The headphone jack. It took them 2 years to figure it out. So it's kind of like, and how is that related? You might be saying, well, that's not related. It is directly related because that shows you, and yes, Samsung's huge, right? Don't think Electroneum's not going to be huge because it's going to be. Naturally, if we have 100 million users,
I was thinking the same thing that Rich seems to be involved in. He's paying attention so that he can get feedback. What better way to get some live feedback but than to read some of the articles that are being written, look at some of the YouTube, and see it firsthand.
That's why they have their own forum, because it was getting so spread out that it kind of became hard for them to track. So they're like, well, if we have our own community forum, it's very easy for me to go on every day or once a week or twice a week and see, well, what are they saying today? Where are we lacking? What are we doing well? Now they have their own website where they can literally go on and see what is the community saying. Many of these big companies don't have that. Are they successful companies? Yes, they're successful companies, but do they do things that is not what the community wants all the time? So, and to talk to a man who's a CEO of a big company, who is in touch with, or he is aware, same thing, he is aware of what his community is looking for. Even if they can't do it today, they are looking into it, which is the point of why I asked some of those questions, like in-app buying. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's what a lot of people that I asked in the community want. And he could have straight up said no. Or, we're not going to talk about that or whatever. But he went into it. And he always does. He takes the time to answer any and every question. And you can't really find that for many companies in, just fiat companies that accept just dollars, right? And you really can't find that for crypto. That's super rare. Does it happen? Yeah. But does it happen often? No, it does not. So yeah, I mean, it's just, especially talking to him, we're in good hands. And I can say,
well, let me ask you, did you feel that you could ask him any question that you really wanted, or did you feel that you had to hold back? Or did you ask the questions you really wanted to know?
There's two answers, and they're both. So yes, I feel like I could ask him anything. I do think I could ask him literally anything. I also think he would give an answer too.
So I noticed you started off with asking him about the obviously pricing and of the coin, and there was lots of volume, and obviously when it went on Huobi with the trading contest, that kind of amplifies the volume of trades, because you'll have bots just sitting there shooting it back and forth, trying to earn as much as they can. in that contest. And then, of course, when that ended, that goes down.
Right.
And it's obviously pretty clear that he can't answer information on price. Now, things that come up, I've heard crazy stuff like, oh, ETN is selling coins to bring the price down, and you're with me that that's insane, right?
Yes, and I feel like it's obvious, but again, there are, and it really isn't like one person. There are people, and I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's where they, the region thing. I don't know what it. I don't know what
it's
it
like
is.
a rumor that starts, and people buy into this nonsense.
Which, by the way, for anybody that's like, well, why would you ask a question about price knowing that he can't? Because there's people in comments saying like, why are you asking questions that he can't answer? Because I know he can answer them. Because Richard Ells can answer any question. Even though he might not be able to tell you specifics to one thing, he can tell you something totally else that answers the question even better than what you want. That's the thing. So when I asked about, I know you can't comment on ETN price, but yada, 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 I knew that he was going to say, just so everybody knows, we never have done anything to manipulate the coin. We don't do insider trading. We don't do anything. We don't do that kind of stuff. I knew he would do that, which is why it was asked. So, yeah, and it's sad that we even need, and I felt like it was an important question to ask, and for him to say that stuff, I feel like it's pretty bad that we even have, because there's so many people that think it, and we see the rumors so much. It stinks that you even have to get the CEO of a crypto or of a company to come out and be like, yeah, look, we don't do any of this price manipulation stuff just to like clear the air. We don't do this.
Well, the reason is that in so many other coins, there is manipulation and entanglement that happens behind the scenes. The one thing I did like about Electroneum, everything has been on the up and up. And I'm going to tell you, if I ever found something that was to the contrary, I would be the first to pontificate about it. But the fact of the matter is that it's all clean as a whistle. And the reason why I actually believe in that organization is because it's a real company. Exactly. Not a bunch of people trying to get over on each other with these coins. And and he mentioned all the transactions are real, the users are real, all the information has been verified. So put that to bed. I just find it idiotic, and you have to just ignore certain people that are even talking about that. Hey, you mentioned the booth.
Yeah.
So tell me, you really like the booth? I'm going to tell you how I feel about it first.
Yeah. Well, see, first, the funny thing is,
I guess second. I'm going to talk to you about it second.
I can't remember. Remember, there was not a leaked image, but there was some sort of, I can't remember, but there was some sort of image, and I looked at it. I'm like, you know what? That kind of looks like a shack. Please don't let it be a shack. And I was in one Telegram chat, and I don't remember which one it was, but I'm like, you know what? I think they're going to do a shack, and that's the biggest mistake they can ever make. Why are they doing that? And then the pictures came out. I'm like, oh, what the F? Why? And then I started to look at it, and then I'm like, you know what? And then their site came out. Their site came out around the new site, I should say. Came out around the same time. I'm like, there's a shack on their site, and I said it's going to look like that. I guarantee it. And it turned out to look like that. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? Actually, it does make sense, because when you do, because I remember, because I'm into tech a lot. That's why Core Market's tech oriented right now. I'm into tech, and I know from all these different events, their booths really do all look the same. So when he said it, I'm like, you know what? He's right. They really are all glossy and white. So why are you gonna, especially if you're trying to make a breakthrough thing, and get people to see it, why are you gonna look like everybody else? So I thought about that. I thought about the shack. I'm like, well, the unbanked, one of the large populations is in Africa. So I was like, I guess I sort of do understand what they're doing. Once I saw, I liked it. Did I like all the color choices? Not quite, but I did like the concept. And I do think, well, actually speaking with him, it did work. It did work. But yeah, I mean, would I give it, like, if I had to rate it out of 10, give it like an 8. Maybe an 8. Yeah, probably an 8. 8 out of 10. Yeah.
All right. So you know I have a manufacturing facility.
Yes.
And I'm the CEO of a display company. And one of the things that we do are trade show booths. I get calls from CBS and down to ladies that make cupcakes and they want a booth. I've made them out of cardboard, foam, wood. Now, whenever I get a new folk calling me up and they're saying, hey, we want to put in a particular type of booth, and I tell them, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. If you just want an aluminum frame with some white walls, you know, there are plenty of people that make those. You can get them prefabricated. You know, just get a hold of one of those. What I make is a movie set. And I said, let me explain why. When people are walking in the trade shows and they're walking down the aisles, they'll see something on the table that catches their attention, a little robot, and they stop. They'll be walking down the aisle, there'll be a girl in a bikini, you know, doing their thing, and they stop. All right? And the object is that as people are walking past the booth, you have to get them to stop.
Yeah.
Just for a second. You've got 4 or 5 seconds as the person is walking by for them to go, what is that? And stop. And when they stop, you have the opportunity to talk.
Right.
And so this is what I explained to everybody. As they're going by, you need them to go, what is that? Why is that here? Let me ask. Or, hey, I see you standing there. Hey, come on in. Let me show you what we got going on here. And in that method, they were extremely successful because, like you said, everything is glossy white, high-tech, streamlined, 2001. And here you have a throwback. And
right.
Why is this here? What do you do? What are you selling? And that would be the first thing out of my mind as I'm walking by. What are these guys doing? And to stop. So on a guidance level, they hit the mark as far as something that's so different that people stop, giving you the opportunity to grab them, bring them in, and capture their attention. Now, obviously, what they were trying to do is create a theme.
Right.
It wasn't, the booth isn't irrelevant, it's just a wrapper. They were creating a theme. So when you stepped into the booth, you were now in that environment. You can picture yourself in that environment, and you know, and people were walking around and bringing things up to the counter, and they're holding a window and a chicken under their hands, you know, to trade for something, and you can feel yourself in the environment.
Yeah.
All right. So having said all that, I think it was a very bold decision.
Oh yeah.
And I think that it performed well. Is it what everybody else was doing? No.
Right.
All right, and that's what made it a bold decision. So there is a psychology behind it and a theming behind it that I understand. The only thing that disappointing to me, there is, you know what the one thing is that's disappointing?
What?
That I wasn't able to build it. So,
I was thinking when you were talking about your business, I'm like, man, they could have got Dino to.
I'm like, darn, too bad it was in Europe. But if he comes to the United States, I want to try to build something.
Eventually, for the Los Angeles, I think there's a Los Angeles.
There you go. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Well,
so let's get to this.
I was just gonna say, like you said in part 2, you know, they haven't even really thought of. I mean, I feel like he made the decision right on the interview. they haven't really even thought of going to Mobile World Congress for 2020 because I think his own words were, "I'm not even sure if we need to drum up more business." I mean, to say that, that sounds like you have so many deals lined up that you don't want any more deals lined up because you're already.
I'm not sure that they're actual deals. You have relationships set up.
Right.
It was clear, and I want to go through these questions. But since you've brought this up, his words were is that we have a lot of people that were coming to us, and what they're going to do, they're going to come up to us and they're going to say, "Hey, this stuff works. We'd like to put that on there." And the problem lies is that, and I've done videos. You're building something new, and they're interacting with other companies, doing different things. He said that there were fires, so clearly there's going to be with any code that you put out, you got bugs, you got problems. It doesn't perform as what you think it is, and and it seems to me logical to me that they're going to have to test run everything. And find where things, fall off the track and put it back on and straighten the track out and let this stuff work for a while. And this is what I was trying to tell people is that you've got to get it functioning and working before you can then say, okay, because he said they had people signed up on the sheet saying, "We want in as soon as you can." And he said that we've told them we can't take you yet until we make sure we've got the environment. So there's no doubt that they have a cup of people, of companies that want in on this. And as soon as it's functioning correctly, they can then sprinkle a little bit more of them into the pot. Is that the same impression that you got?
Yeah, it's the exact same. That's how I took, everything that he said. And he didn't beforehand. I don't believe. Yeah, there was nothing that he because I don't think we talked about that before we filmed. Yeah, that's how I took it. That they do have a lot of business, and like you said, like relations. There's a lot of talking that has to happen before any deals, but and just like you said, don't forget, and not just you, like viewers. He said there's people who are saying pull the lever and give us 100 million users. He basically said if they did that, they'd be dead. They'd be out of business. And anybody that has the coin, it would be a dead coin because they would have been slaughtered because they are not ready. That's why it's not even, and see, to say it like that, there's going to be people who are like, well, why aren't they ready? Like, what, are they failing?
No, they have the environment established, but they've got to test run everything.
Of course.
All right.
And that's why they should be limited. It's smaller, and it makes total sense. It's smaller. It's people who need it, who will use it. So let's figure out and he told me that they're learning a lot of stuff that they didn't even know they'd run into. And he also said, and he might have said it in the video, I think he said it in part 2 maybe, that he knows that other cryptos haven't done this stuff because nobody else has run into the obstacles that they have. And he knows that because there is no solution for this stuff. They have to come up with all these different solutions. So what does that mean? They're the only ones running into the problem. What does that mean? They're the only people or the only company, the only crypto that's doing anything like this. So when you think of it like that, that's a good thing. That's an exclusive thing that Electroneum's doing that nobody else is doing. Are obstacles normal? Yes, they are normal. In fact, I even told him, this might have been off camera, I even told him, if you guys didn't have obstacles, I'd be concerned. Because it's almost like, well, if there's no obstacles, you might not be doing something right to run into some kind of issue. Who doesn't run into an issue when they're trying to run a company, do something? Everybody.
Well, not only that, just the code and the processes.
Right.
You've got to try to have people break. You got to have people even try to break it and test it to see if they can, scam it. Because if somebody can scam it, they will. You can just announce something and but there's nothing there. All right, Electroneum is building. All right, and it'll instead of doing the Tron hype, where they're announcing an announcement and talking about stuff they haven't even built or that they're going to do in 10 years. You know, they've actually got this stuff working. Yeah, they got this.
That's how I see crypto. It's a lot of hype, and it doesn't seem like much happens.
It's all smoke and mirrors usually.
It really is, and that's an obstacle for Electroneum and Richard Ells to overcome, which Richard Ells said. When he pointed, he said, "That's what we're working on right now." And we talked for 20 minutes about this before the video. He's like, "What we're finding in South Africa is that people are finding ETN too good to be true." So why are they finding it too good to be true? Because they can save $3 a month on their mobile plan. Some of the mobile plans are only like $3 a month. So it's like, wait, I could get a free mobile plan every single month? What? That sounds fake. And it does, because, I mean, try to say that to somebody in the US. Oh, you want to get a free mobile plan? Sign here. Okay, well, what else is attached to that? So they have to go from it's too good to be true to no, it's so good it can't be ignored.